You were selected to be a part of the premier group of Mariachi Spectacular All-Stars because you are considered a torch carrier of the mariachi flame. What does that mean to you?
I mean, I guess it could mean a lot of things. First of all, I'm just very, very, very happy to be here, to be selected as one of the members for this year, and I'm just really looking forward to making music with all my compañeros. What does it mean to me? I feel a big sense of responsibility, to kind of keep that tradition going. I've been a part of this festival since, I was 17 years old, and every year it just keeps getting better and better. And so, for me, I think it's important to kind of just keep passing down that tradition to the younger generation, so it doesn't get lost. And hopefully, I can say 10 years down the road, it's just better than ever.
Tell us about your first experience with mariachi music. Was it part of your family, something you discovered on your own? Did you learn in school? Can you share?
Well, my first experience with mariachi, to be honest with you, I really, I wasn't that passionate about mariachi music because I just really didn't associate with it. I started playing violin in Virginia, and so for me, I was more classically inclined and in the orchestra. When I moved to Texas is when when I was introduced to the band, the mariachi scene, and I was really, really captivated when we saw Mariachi Vargas in concert in Corpus Christi. I was really, really just like in awe. The voices, the way they executed their instruments, the uniformity. It just was really, really, really a breath of fresh air, and I was just so amazed at how well these men played their instruments and established themselves as Mariachi Vargas, el mejor mariachi del mundo. So I was just really, really when I saw them play in concert, I was like, you know what, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I was just so like happy to see that type of caliber from musicians.
Was it at this time that you became passionate about the music, or did it come a little later on?
I think that passionate was around when I was 15 years old when I did see them in concert. I wanted to continue learning more about the genre. I wanted to, of course, we have to, like going back to what I was saying with orchestral training, we lack that vocal training, and so I wanted to learn more about songs, and one thing that really I thought was really cool was how, like, for example, rancheras, you really got the opportunity to express yourself, and in every word you say, and I was already doing that on violin, but to kind of do it vocally, and for my mom to say or my dad to say, hey, I know that song when I was younger too, we used to sing it, or my abuela, I was like, oh, like it kind of added that special, like, a little twist, like, hey, all our family can relate to that.
How important do you think music exposure is to young children, and why?
How important do I think it is? I think it's extremely vital to a child's upbringing, because it's proven that a student that plays a musical instrument is a lot more, I don't want to say smarter, but they're a lot more challenged. I can speak from experience. I'm a middle school teacher, and I teach at the secondary level, grades 6 through 12. I can tell you from experience that the students that do choose music in general, not just mariachi, at the very end do end up, developing, that character, and so like that to me, I think it's very important for them. It keeps them out of trouble. They're focused on good things, and they're just, becoming better human beings, better people for the future.
Have you personally witnessed any positive changes in any students you've taught?
Yes, I can use many examples, but the one that probably moved me the most is a student that I met back in 2015. A student that was just completely, going down the wrong, path, and very destructive, very disrespectful, was, borderline, almost using drugs at 13, 14 years old. Completely changed his life around because, he realized, hey, like, I'm talented on the violin, and then this particular student was didn't have the best support at home, didn't really have the best of friends. However, playing the violin kind of distracted him in a positive way. And so that student now, I can proudly say, has like $20,000 plus in scholarship money to study, at his university of choice. And so the fact that I can say that, I helped the student, because of course at the end it's his work, but that I was able to inspire him and help him, choose his path, it's a pretty good feeling.
Who do you consider to have the most influence in your musical career? Now, is that the same person that continues to inspire you today?
Well, I think us as students and teachers, now we have several people that have motivated us around, along our paths. For me, I really did enjoy this towards the later parts of, because when I was a kid, I was just very like I was like, what? I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing it more for my parents. But towards the end, I was really inspired by teachers that were, I would see them like in one city at one point, and then they would travel to another, and I just really liked that whole the like, hey, you get to travel, you get to meet new people, you get to meet all these places, perform at all these venues, and I was just really, really like, you know what, I want to be doing that in the future. To name an example, Dr. Daniel and he was a professor for. At the University of Texas Pan American back from 2012 to about 2015, and that man taught me the importance of building up your confidence, being a reputable musician, and how to defend yourself on the stage. So I was just really, really, really moved by the way he taught me, the way he talked to me, and that's a reflection of how I treat my students nowadays. And I do see a big impact. In fact, I've had many kids tell me, like, you know what, sir, I'm so happy to meet someone like you, because you just moved me. You inspired me to keep playing this music. And so I could use many examples. I think all of us have many role models and people that have motivated us, but probably he's one of the most that I can say right now.
As a role model for younger generations, how do you hope to inspire this generation in the way musicians who are such a major part of the Mariachi Spectacular of Albuquerque may have inspired you?
Well, to be honest, when I was, again, going back at 17, my first year here at the event, at the Mariachi Spectacular, I got to see many new faces. For me, like I said, my inspiration was Mariachi Vargas. But lots of friends of mine were like, hey, not only is there Mariachi Vargas, there's also Mariachi Los Camperos, there's also Mariachi Sol de Mexico. So through the conference, I got to meet a lot of these newer faces, and gosh, a lot of these guys are so very talented, and many of them were teachers, and I was like, man, like I just became so like impressed with their technical ability, with their their ability to just transfer because at the end of the day, mariachi music is not just playing an instrument. You're also like passing the style, el sabor, all that good stuff. And so I for the younger generations, to answer your question, I would like to be remembered. My legacy here for the Spectacular, I hope is to just teach students that, hey, it's not just about holding the violin like this and doing a little slide here. No, stressing the importance of technique, and and really empowering a student to that way they can reach their best potential.
Can you tell us, how did you select your instrument?
Well, do you want the truth or do you want the... Well, my mom is the one that pushed me into playing violin when I was in sixth grade. And she really wanted me to stick with it, because, it was a good distraction, from it was something new. I was the first musician in my family. I think that violin was something... I wasn't in love with it at first. However, by the end of the sixth grade year, that's where I was like, hey, you know what, this is something that I'm actually good at. I think I should give it a little more attention, and they got me private teachers. I started getting a little more technique, and started getting better, and started getting a little bit more attention. I think that's what I enjoyed the most, the attention. And I was just like, like I can really make something out of this. When at the high school level, I was just like, I could actually potentially get scholarships into big universities, and that's exactly what I did, sir, and I don't regret any bit of it.
Where do you see yourself as it relates to mariachi in 20 years?
Where do I see myself in? Well, I think that present time, I'm very, very happy where my life is. I'm an educator. I have my own group of students, and I enjoy that very much. In 20 years' time, I do see myself possibly traveling, in different parts of Europe, Italy, France, and I really do want to also, venture out into the classical part of my training, and I feel like that's something that I've always wanted to do, traveling, and I know I could do that with mariachi as well, but I think that it would be pretty cool to kind of put both of them together.
What piece of advice would you share with young people who want to start a career in mariachi?
Well, if you really want to have a successful career, as far as mariachi is concerned, you need a very strong foundation. For example, you make sure you're practicing your scales, you're set up properly with your posture, your technique, and that way you really make yourself an asset to future groups, and of course exercise your voice, all that's become a well-rounded elemento, a well-rounded musician. And the best advice is just make sure you're practicing your scales, make sure you're putting in your work in every single day, so that you can become a reputable musician, an asset to a group.
How has mariachi impacted your life?
What way has mariachi impacted my life? Well, it's impacted me in several different ways, but I think the one that resonates with me the most right now is that it's really helped me become at least on the stage, it's really helped me come out of my shell and be a lot more confident. To be it's really just kind of pulls it out of you. You have to in an orchestral setting. You can hide between 15 violins. And in mariachi, it's just you and a microphone. You're full blast, and so I really did appreciate that from mariachi. Of course, all the connections you make with people, and you really do get to travel a lot and just expand your horizons. So, hello, my name is Orlando de Leon. I'm an all-star for this year's 2021 Mariachi Spectacular, and I play the violin.